Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. Happy Monday. I hope that when you are capturing this live, you are having a great day. You're having a great month. You're having a great week. I hope that your April has been incredible as it has been for me. For those of you who are joining me live, welcome. My name is Susana Briscoe-Alba. I am going to be answering your career questions surrounding strategy, salaries, expectations, how to find a job in this current job market, all the things, how to update your resume. And for those of you who are catching me for the first time, welcome. My name is Susana Briscoe-Alba. I'm the lead career strategist at Dunamis Coaching and Consulting Services. And for those of you who are not new to this, but you are true to this, hey, friend. I am excited to welcome y'all here. We have over 900 people watching us live, so this is exciting. I'm excited to welcome you here. So, what we are going to be talking about today is kind of answering your questions surrounding what to do next. I have a treat for you at the end because many of you have asked for this type of service, and so that's what we're going to do. Okay. So, if you're not new to this and you are true to this, I want you to drop a 2 in the chat. If this is your first time watching me live, can you drop a 1 in the chat? If this is not your first time and you are a part of this community, can you drop a 2 in the chat and help me welcome all the ones? So if this is your first time catching a live, drop a 1. If this is not your first time catching a live, drop a 2 and help me welcome all of the new folks who are joining us today. So I see folks are joining me from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How exciting to all of the ones. Welcome. I am excited that you're here. I am originally from New York, so you will hear some New York accents coming out of your girl. But I'm pumped. I'm pumped to be able to connect with y'all and just kind of give you some game on the questions that you guys have been asking me surrounding job strategy, how to tailor your resume, what you should be putting on, what you shouldn't be putting on. I'm also going to try to debunk some of the myths that I've been hearing online of things that you should and should not do. So, yeah, it's about to go down. If this is your first time, I'm going to encourage you to have something to take notes with. I give a lot of tips that are actionable for you to be able to apply to your career strategy. For those who have been rocking with me and you know that, I want you to drop some gems in the chat because I can promise you that that's what you're going to get today. You are going to get some gems surrounding your resume. You're going to get some gems surrounding what to do next, how to tailor your resume, and all that other jazz. So let's get into it. I typically ask you guys to submit your questions surrounding what are you struggling with, what are some of the areas that you need some support with, and then every Monday I try to go live to be able to answer your questions in real time. And so I got a couple questions from our community. I'm going to do my best to serve you well and answer those questions, but a lot of the questions were surrounding resume and resume writing and kind of what to expect. What do you say? What do you not say? And so we're going to break that down. Okay. For those of you who are new, I am a hiring manager. I've been a hiring manager for quite a bit of time. I now run and operate my own business where I teach other women of color how to navigate this world in terms of being able to submit their resumes, nail their interviews, scale their salaries, negotiate effectively. So if you are not sure who I am, that's who I am and that's what I do. So the first question that I got, and I've gotten this one quite a bit and I want to try to answer this one very quickly, was surrounding I got a couple of DMs surrounding good news, exciting news that we are expecting a baby. So for those of you who are pregnant and you're expecting, and this might be your first or this might be your 5th kid, congratulations, right? Expecting a baby is always such an exciting time. And so congratulations to you, but you are nervous about sharing that information with your employer and what is going to take place. And how do you share that? So I'm going to just answer that question very quickly. And I hope that I can give you just sound bites that you can make your own surrounding how to announce your pregnancy. What do you do? Do I say anything? So on and so forth. So let me be the first to tell you, if if no one has told you today, that is none of their business unless you want to share that. Okay. One of the things that I was taught as a young girl was that you don't share your personal business. You don't ask a woman if she's pregnant, even if she's crowning. Like, you just don't ask about that. But I can understand how that's important. Um, and you're wondering, like, how do I share this with my employer? So the first thing that I would say is, until you are showing, I would hold that news. Okay, I would hold that news until you are showing. Or if you're in the earlier stages of your pregnancy and it's really hitting you hard, like all of the things are hitting you hard, then from there I would encourage you to be able to kind of detail the plan that I'm going to share with you right now. So the first thing that I would do is I would start to assess what is the work that you're currently doing and that you're responsible for. And then, based on who you work with and how many people may or may not be on your team, I would encourage you to then start detailing out what are the aspects of the work that you are doing and who on your team is a good fit to be able to navigate the aspects of that work while you are on maternity leave, or for the dads while you are on paternity leave. Having a baby is a gift. Having a baby is a joy. Do not let your workplace make you feel any different. I'm going to say that one more time. Having a child, having a baby is a gift and a joy. Do not let your workplace make you feel any different about you deciding to start a family. What you want to make sure that you do is that you have a strategy. So when I got pregnant with my little man, I started to assess, okay, what are the events that we have coming up? I'm a public speaker. We were hosting events every week, pretty much every week. And every month there was a major event at my employer where I was the keynote speaker, introducing people, all the things. So I needed to think through, who could I train on my team to be able to give the most important points of my speech, even though I was not going to be there? Who could be able to kind of read the room, understand how to like go back and forth with the audience, get the information out in a clear and concise manner? Once I identified that person, then I started to kind of train them into being close to me so that they could hear me say things, how I said things, how I delivered things. And then I noted that. Then there was the other aspect of the work that I did where I had to follow up with people, emails, phone calls, that kind of stuff. So I started to train someone else on how I handled that aspect of my work. And then there was the other aspect of meeting people one-on-one in person to make sure that there was a quota that was met at my previous job. So that I started to deal with and teach someone else how I managed that, how I had those conversations, how I closed on those deals, how I would manage objections. So I would make sure that I would go through all of those pieces. And then once I identified my people, I let my employer know, hey, listen, I just want to let you know, I am expecting and I'm super excited about it. I know that I'm going to be away. I know that we have these projects coming up. These are the individuals that I have identified who would be a good fit for the work that I am doing. Give me your feedback. The reason that you want to do it that way, ladies and gentlemen, is because you want them to be a part of the conversation, but you also want to be able to provide solutions to this gap that now will likely become a bit more of work on everyone else. But if you have already kind of strategically created what the next steps are, then it should not be a hindrance. I know of some organizations where they will celebrate that you are having a baby and it's great. And I know of some other organizations where they make you feel trashy because now you've just put a burden on everybody and now everybody has to figure out how to take care of your work while you're out. In either case, make sure you have a plan. Okay. So for my pregnant mamas, for my parents who are watching me, if that is where you're at, make sure you have a plan, identify the people who would be a good fit. And then thirdly, submit that plan for feedback. And you may or may not be able to get through all of it while you are there, but at least you have a plan and then you give them something that they can work with. Okay. The other question that I got was, how do I professionally say that I need growth? So this is for those of you who like your job, you like the work that you're doing, but you're kind of bored and you want to be able to advance in your company. You're tired of kind of the same mundane type of work, but you're ready to kind of move up and level up. So I would encourage you, if you are not having your one-on-ones with your manager yet, now is the time to start to get that on the calendar with them. Because the best way that you can professionally say that you need growth is by articulating that. Okay. You have to be able to call that out. And you also have to be able to call out what type of growth you're looking for. Amen. Because some people will give you some work and it's like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm intended for growing. Okay. So, the first thing, if you are in that type of season where you are looking to grow and you want to expand in your career and you kind of don't feel challenged anymore, the first thing is to schedule some time with your manager and let them know that. But also, the second part to that is to identify what aspects of growth you can see yourself in. What aspects of growth you can see yourself in. Because once you've been able to do that, then you can give them kind of more definitive course of action in terms of where you want to go. Here's one thing that I want you to remember. Some managers are really good and some managers not so much. Okay. So the only way that you can take career ownership is by being very clear about what you do well. Okay. What is it that you do well? And the other reason that you want to make sure that you've identified what is it that you do well and where you want to see growth is because when you have your end of year review or you have your mid-quarter review and you want to ask for a salary and you want to ask for an increase, they may only remember what you did recently. You need to be the one to remind them of how much you've grown. And I know that some people are going to be like, oh, well, they should really know that. They should pay attention. Honey, they don't. Let's just call a spade a spade. They don't. Some of them will. That's a good leader. But some of them will not. So you need to be able to articulate what are the things that you have done well so that you can grow into the next role. I can tell you with assurance that you know that you have grown and you're ready for the next when things like this start to happen. Okay? So you should know whether or not you're ready for growth or ready for a higher role or higher level of responsibility if you are the one that they always ask to be their person on their out of office messages. So you know how people go on vacation or they're going to be out of work for some time and they put you on the email like for more information please contact Susana Alba. And it's like why you putting me on that? Like you the boss. That is because there's a certain level of trust there that they know that you can do their job while they're out. Okay. The other thing is, if you start to end up or get like a lot of people asking you, hey, can I pick your brain on this topic? Hey, can I have your opinion on this? Hey, do you think that you would be available to teach or train said person? That's another sign that you're growing. These are the cues that I need you to pay attention to. So, like that, when you find yourself that now it's time for you to leave your organization, you're not applying for the same role at your current organization, but you're applying to the next level. Okay, somebody in the chat type next level. If you're with me, I want you to type next level because I feel like I'm talking fast and I don't want you to miss this. Okay, I want you to make sure that you got this. So, if you are trying to identify, like, how do I professionally say that I need to grow? How do I professionally identify where I want to grow into? That's the way that you can start to pay attention. Okay. All right. So y'all are telling me next level. Okay. So you're getting it. You're getting it. And the reason that I'm asking you to pay attention to this, y'all, is because what I also find is most people will struggle when applying for a new job. Most people will struggle when applying for a new job because they apply for the job that they currently hold at another organization. Because you're going off of title and not off of scope of work. I see this happen in my practice day after day because you go off of the title and not off of the scope of work. How many of you show, let's see, what can I give you so you can tell me it's me? Okay, I want you to find the raising hand emoji, okay? And how many of you would say that when you are applying for a job, if the title looks scary, if the title looks bigger than what you're currently doing, you would decide, I'm not applying for that job. You don't even look at the job description. You immediately make the decision off of the title. If that's you, I want you to raise your hand in the chat. I want you to put the hand raised emoji. Yes. Yes. Somebody said raise hand. So the reason that I'm bringing this up, y'all, is because I went through this a couple of times last week with a few of my clients. We're in the process of finding them new roles that they can be a good fit for. Okay. And so one of the things that they struggled with was that they were applying for positions based off of the current title that they held. And so when you work with me and my team, we are looking at your resume and we are sending you positions that are probably a little bit scary. But the reason that we're sending you these positions that are probably a little bit scary is because we know that you already have the qualifications to do the work. And so if you're going to scale your salary and you're going to scale within your career, you can't stay applying for the same small roles. But because the title is real big, people are like, oh my goodness, no, I can't. No, I can't do that. So one of the things that I did with one of my clients recently was that we started off with the job description. And she and I were going back and forth. And I told her, okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, I want you to read through these bullets. 5 being I could do this job. 1 being I can't do this at all. So we're going to go through these job description bullets. And you're going to tell me on a scale from 1 to 5 how confident you are in being able to do the role. And I didn't even show her the title. We just wanted to look at the job description. And of course, as we looked at it, she was looking at this role and she was like, oh, I could do that. That's a 5. That's a 5. That's a 5. That's a 5. That one's a 4. That one's a 4. That's a 5. That's a 5. And then we went through what were the minimum qualifications. And she was like, oh, I have all of these. I have all of these things. And I'm like, okay, great. So this is the type of role that I want you to be looking for. When we looked up at what the title was, it was for a vice president level position. And she was only applying to director level positions. So when you look at the scope of work in comparison to what you are doing, most of you are playing small. Most of you are playing small. And you know how I can tell? Because once you get to me, one of the common things that I hear is the jobs that I'm applying for, Susana, they're just not paying the salary that I want. And naturally, they're not paying the salary that you want because you're playing small, because you're applying to positions that are beneath the ability, your skill set, and your talent. So when I, as a hiring manager, see that type of resume come in, I'm going to be like, I can't afford this person. Or if you are not one of my followers, what will happen is that they will hire you. And because you are desperate, you'll take the first thing that they give you. Instead of being able to go into conversation like, no. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And here's the thing. A lot of people will be like, Susana, in this market, you really can't do that. You have to be careful. In this market, all the more you have to be able to do that. But you have to have a strategy. Because if you're going into a role or you're going into the job search without having a strategy, you are going to struggle. And so what I see a lot of people do is that they spray and pray. They spray their resume across every possible job board, across every possible connection, and pray, hopefully, that somebody will pay attention and call them for an interview. And so that's not always true. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to the scope of work, to the job description, and then look at the title. The reason that I say that too is because titles will vary from organization to organization, y'all. And so if you're making a decision based off of the title, you are selling yourself short, because in one industry, they recognize that as this, and in another industry, they recognize it as this title. At the end of the day is, can you do the work? Okay. I can tell you as a hiring manager, that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to tell you as a hiring manager, these are the 3 qualities that I am trying to identify when I'm looking at a candidate. Okay? Y'all ready? If you want to know what are the 3 questions that I am asking myself as a hiring manager when I'm looking at y'all's resumes, when I'm combing through LinkedIn profiles, when I'm looking at different requisitions, I don't know where these, y'all, if you're watching me on YouTube, Facebook, or on LinkedIn, I don't know where those fireworks came from, but they're really excited. But if you want me to tell you and give you game on the questions that I am trying to ask myself as I am looking at candidates, I want you to write game in the chat, because this is what you need to be able to answer. Okay? So if you want me to give you game on what are the 3 questions that you need to be ready to answer, I want you to write game in the chat. Because I can promise you, this will likely change the way that you look at things. Okay? All right, y'all are like, I'm ready, Susana. I'm ready. Give me game. Question number 1. Question number 1 is, can you do the work? Can you do the work? Another variation of that question would be, what was your impact at your last organization? What was your impact at your last organization? Notice how I'm not saying, how long were you at your last organization? What I am saying is, what was your impact at your last organization? Miss Lady in Purple 624, baby, shout out to you for putting the questions in the chat and helping our community. I love you for that. Thank you so much. She is the bomb. I love it. Thank you, baby. So, what was the impact that you had at your organization? That's what I'm looking through to identify on your resume. So, if you are just telling me your job functions, if your resume is just filled with the functions that you do at your job, that's likely one of the reasons why you're not getting the responses that you want, because you're not telling me impact. Okay? You're not telling me impact. So, can you do the work? What impact did you have at your last organization? The second question that I am asking myself is, do I like this candidate? Now, for some of y'all, that's gonna trigger you, because it shouldn't be about liking. And I can agree to that to an extent. But here is the thing that I will tell you as a hiring manager. I am not going to hire a cancer into my organization. I'm going to just leave it at that. I do not want to hire a cancer into my organization. So I am going to try to assess, do I like this candidate? Because I want to be very mindful of the type of person that I'm bringing into my organization. Because if we have developed an environment where people can grow, where they can earn, where we don't need to be friends, but we enjoy the work that we do together, where we are looking forward to tackling projects that change people's lives, I need to be very careful about who I'm bringing into that space. Because if you are cancerous, I ain't got the time. I do not have the time. So do I like this candidate? And because of the type of work that I was doing previously, the work that we did required me to be on the road quite often. And so my type of mentality was, if I have to be in the car with this individual for at least 3 hours, which on average was about travel time, depending where we were going, would I be able to tolerate being in the car or being on an airplane with this individual for a specific amount of time? Okay. And so likability, most people are going to be like, well, how do you assess likability on paper? Likability will give me cues in your career summary. So some of you have an objective on the top of your resume. I need you to take that off and give me a summary of the work that you have done. And in that summary, I'm expecting to get to know pieces of you, accolades about you that impact and are relevant to the position that I'm hiring for. Okay? So I'm looking for your impact that is relevant to the position that I am hiring for. Because I not only want to make sure that you're great at what you do, but I also want to make sure that there are other things that drive you that you look forward to. So it's not that I want to know about your hobbies and your interests and all that other jazz, but are you in alignment with the vision and the mission of the organization? That's how I can assess likability. I can't tell you how many people show up for an interview. They've not done their research. They don't know the mission of the organization. They have no idea what kind of product or service is being provided. And it's like, why do you want to work here? Help me help you. Okay. So the first question is, can you do the work? Question number two is, what's the impact that you've had? And question number three is, do I like this candidate? Do I see potential there? And the way that we can assess potential is if you can speak to the issue that you solved at your organization that will likely be an impact going into the organization. And the reason that I am telling y'all this is because that last one, that likability piece, goes both ways, y'all. So not only is it, do I like the candidate, but does the candidate like me? And I can tell whether or not a candidate likes me or not because most candidates go on autopilot. And so I can tell on your cover letters and on your resumes where you change things just to make sure that it's a good fit. And I'm not saying that that's not good. It's a template for you to follow. And I'm all about templates and frameworks and all that jazz. But geez, did you manage to at least identify that my name is not Sharon and put Susana? That my company is not Chevron and put Dunamis? Those are the ways that I can assess whether or not you like me or you just desperate to get a job. Because desperate will then produce not so great work. And at the end of the day, y'all, we have work and bills to pay. The candidate has bills to pay and the organization has bills to pay. And both of us are trying to assess how can we get the biggest ROI. Okay? So I bet you've never heard anybody break it down to you that way. But this is why I teach the way that I do. Okay? So I hope that this helped y'all. Again, I don't know where this is coming from. I hope that this helped y'all. So if that helped you, I want you to write help me in the chat. Helped me in the chat. So like that, I know. Okay. Because what we not trying to do, listen, if you are a part of this tribe, I'm gonna tell you this with all the love in my heart. If you are a part of this tribe, you may be a lot of things, but basic, average, and dumb is not one of them or any of them. So I'm gonna say that one more time. If you are a part of this tribe, if you are following Briscoe-Alba and you are implementing what you are learning, you may be a lot of things, but basic, average, and dumb are not that. Because the reason that I teach the way that I do is because I got sick and tired of feeling like, why isn't anybody sharing this information? Or why are people gatekeeping this information? Especially for people who look like me. What? Why is it so hard? Because I know that I'm smart. Because I know I have my degree. Because I know I've worked really hard. Because I know I have the skills, even though I have a gap on my resume. So this is why I teach y'all the way that I do. Because I need you to take ownership of your career. Nobody else is coming to do it for you. Even with me teaching you the way that I am teaching you, nobody else is going to take ownership for it, for your career, like you will. So this is why I want you to shine. And this is why I want you to be aware of what is available to you, because no one is going to do that for you. Okay? So you have to be able to articulate your value, be able to find the right roles so like that you can break the cycle of being in the same place. Okay. All right. So let's go into the next question that I got. Um, okay, so this is a good question. How to bring back an offer that I've received to my current employer. So this individual had an interview, they received an offer, and now they want to take it back to their employer. And I'm anticipating that what they're trying to do is get their employer to pay them at the new offer. Now, before I give you my response to that, there's a couple things that I want you to assess, y'all, especially if you're going back to your employer and you're going to counter, you're expecting them to counter. Okay. The first thing that I want you to pay attention to is if your employer were to counter that offer and bring your salary up to the new offer, would you stay? That's number one. And number two, will it change the environment? So a lot of people will get a counter offer and they bring it to their employer, and sometimes the employer will match it or go above just to keep that candidate or that employee. But the environment doesn't change. And the reason that I ask you that question is because the money might be great, but if you're still under toxic leadership, there's not any amount of money that will help you to heal your mind. If you're still under toxic leadership and they raised the offer, but your mental health and your well-being is taking a hit, is it worth the money? That's all I'm going to say. Now, if you want to take it back to your employer and you enjoy where you're at and the environment is amazing and you're growing, then you can take it back and you can say, hey, listen, I really do enjoy working here. I really do enjoy what we've been able to accomplish. I've received X offer. Is it possible for our organization to match this? And see what happens. Here's the reason why I encourage people to find a job while they still have one. It gives you leverage. It gives you leverage. So if you have a counter offer that you can take back to your employer, even if you're not looking to leave, this is why you have leverage, because then you can take it to your manager and tell them, hey, listen, I'm really actually not looking to leave, but X company offered me this. Is there a possibility that during our next cycle, we can meet that number? And if they really value you and you really enjoy that, they will seriously take that into consideration. But if you're already at the top end of the hiring range or of the salary range, if you're already at the high end of the salary range for your current employer, you probably won't be able to get to that place. So this is why I need you to do your research. This is why I encourage people every 3 to 5 years, you should be looking for a new opportunity, even if you are happily employed. Because for a long time, what I was taught, the generations before me taught me that you should stay where you're at for as long as possible, put your head down and do your work, and eventually somebody will notice. Anybody else have that story told to them? Because I know I did. And my parents did the best that they could with what they had. Okay? My parents were immigrants. So they were learning right along with me and my sisters. But at some point, we started to see, okay, mommy and daddy had a certain perspective, but the reality of what we are dealing with right now doesn't look like that anymore. So this is why I teach you every 3 to 5 years, you should be looking for a new opportunity. Y'all, and it took me a long time to break that thought and that belief that I had. Because I thought that I was going to be like not loyal, or they were just going to think about me a certain way. Baby, once you leave that place, they're not thinking about you, girl. Like what? So don't stress that. You know who is thinking about you? that bill that's coming at the end of the month. So this is why you have to be intentional about the way that you grow. So that's the way that I would handle counter offers. Okay. Next question I got was, can you share with your seasoned followers interview skills to go back to the job scene? Okay, so for my seasoned folks, okay, what I like to call y'all is prime time. Okay, baby, because you got this. And for clarity, for those of you who are wondering what is a seasoned type of employee, I'm going to say anybody who has over 10 years, I consider you a seasoned employee. And so for my seasoned folks, for those of you who have been at a role for a specific amount of time, some of my clients have been in their roles 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and the thought of going back to interview stresses them out. Okay. So for those of you who are seasoned, what I would start to pay attention to is what is the skill set that you have developed over your career that now you can transition that wealth of knowledge to another organization. So your questions will sound very different than those of recent college grads. Okay. It's terrifying. But because you have all of this experience, you want to make sure that whoever you're going to work with or work for, that they are worthy of your time, talent, and attention. You did not acquire the skills that you've acquired or the expertise that you have in 15 minutes. Like, you worked hard to get to that. So I would start to ask questions during the interview, specifically surrounding how do they value the knowledge transfer? What is your process of onboarding, training, and developing to make sure that it is in alignment with who you are? When was the last time that you worked with an employee and they saw success? What were the steps that you took to get them there? How does the company value, or how does the company evaluate success, and how often? Because what we're not going to do is go from the fire into the frying pan. And if you, again, for my seasoned folks, if you have this skill set, you need to position yourself as a solution to a problem. So positioning becomes very important. Emotional intelligence also becomes very important. So for my seasoned folks, what I don't want you to do is be like, oh, well, I have 20 years of experience. Nobody's going to hire me. You know why I don't want you to think that way? Because when you sit on the other side of the table, you are already telling me by your body language, by the way that you talk about yourself, by the way that you show up, that you're not worthy of being hired. I'm just telling you. So position yourself as the expert. And how is your expertise going to be a good fit? Because at the end of the day, my loves, companies want to work with people who are going to impact their bottom line. So you need to be able to share how you will impact their bottom line. And companies right now, they're not dumb. They're asking you to do presentations. They're asking you to do assessments. They're asking you to do all of these things. And some of y'all are giving away your intellectual property for free. If that's you, that stops today. You can give them a taste of your process. You can give them a taste of your expertise, but you will not give away your intellectual property for free. If you want to see more impact like this, you will need to hire me. Because here you are preparing for an interview with like a 20-page slide deck. And then they're like, thank you so much for your time. We've decided to go with another candidate. And now all of your intellectual property belongs to somebody else. I'm sorry, what? I know you lying. No, ma'am. No, sir. So you want to be able to give them a taste. But as seasoned professionals, I really believe that you should have your evidence list, a brag book, whatever it is, a presentation, a website, whatever it is that's going to give them a taste of the work that you've done. And if they want to see that type of impact, you can even put this on your LinkedIn profile. If they want to see that type of impact at their organization, then you're the solution. Okay? Please, please, please be mindful of giving away your IP for free. And IP stands for intellectual property. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the question that I got was, this person was supposed to be terminated, and they heard this through hearsay. They were supposed to be terminated. The company decided to rescind their termination. They heard this information word of mouth, and they want to know, how should I navigate working but looking for another position? That goes back to what I just was talking about. Making sure that you are keeping your eye on the market. You should never take yourself out completely of the market, y'all. You should never, never, never take yourself completely out of the market. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when a company is going to have layoffs. You never know when a company is just going to declare bankruptcy and have to streamline or go lean. So you should never take yourself off of the market. First of all, in your question to me, you said that it was hearsay. I would not spend too much time trying to prove that. I would spend that time of energy trying to find what my next best role is going to be like. I would start looking at, okay, what are the skills that I really enjoy? What is the gap in the market that I haven't identified? And how can I go into that role? I would start to position myself as an expert, because you are. So I'm just saying. Okay. So let's see. What was the next one? Okay, so this individual asked, how do I seek out mentorship? I have my degree, they have a master's degree, and okay, well, this person, I'm not going to give away their name, but this individual has more degrees than a thermometer. Okay. And their question is, how do I seek out mentorship? The first thing that I want you to know is that mentorship is not a one size fits all. Some individuals will be able to mentorship when it comes to leadership and leadership ability. Some people will be able to mentor you as it relates to developing a team or developing your skills. Some people, like myself, will be able to mentor you in terms of what is your career strategy and how do you grow in that kind of space. So mentorship is going to look different. The other thing is, there's a lot of people online specifically that are calling themselves coaches and mentors and all this other stuff. And I want you to be a smart consumer. So have they done the thing that you want to do? Have they done the thing that you want to do? So when I was navigating starting a podcast and eventually launching Elevate Her, which was my podcast, I started to receive mentorship from someone who already was successful with seasons and seasons of podcast episodes. Where do you go? How do you edit? How do you find the time to connect with someone? What do you share? What do you not share? So that was my mentor as it related to all things podcast. And a lot of folks have asked me to bring it back, and I just might. So when I was looking for that kind of support in order to be able to get the podcast up and running, that's the type of mentor that I was looking for. In my career, when I was looking for another woman who was leading a team, who had to navigate from going in person to virtual to then having to go hybrid, that's the type of person that I was looking for. Who has done that already, and they have seen success, and who can I hitch my wagon to? Because I want to be able to connect with that individual. When I was in the season where I wanted to scale my salary to 6 figures, I was not hanging out with people who were not in that 6-figure range, because who you hang around can also start to impact what you start acting like. So if I wanted to increase my salary, if I wanted to get to that 6-figure point, I needed to start to hang around people who were there already so that I could learn their strategy. And now I'm teaching it to you all. So this was years of trying to get to that point. Okay. So understand that mentorship and sponsorship, like they're very valuable, but it's not a one size fits all. Also, the other thing that you should think through is that some form of mentorship or some form of sponsorship will always have a payment. I'm going to say that again. Some form of sponsorship or some form of mentorship will always have a payment. You will either pay with your time or you will pay with your money, but it's not going to be free. I'm going to say that for the people in the back that perhaps can't hear me. You will either pay with your time or you will pay with your money, but it will not be free. Because consider the fact that your mentor should help you to propel forward. And there are some people who will mentor you up until a certain point. But the moment that you start to get better or exceed or move forward beyond where they have been, then they start to treat you real different. Pay attention. This is why it's not a one size fits all. So for some of my clients, they're like, Susana has become my therapist, my coach, my mentor. And then by the time we are wrapping up, they're like, you can't leave me. we can't finish working together. But at some point, I have to be able to equip you well enough so like that you can stand on your own, and then I can come alongside you. It's easier to work with a moving target than it is to work with someone who wants to be stagnant and stuck. I'm not the coach for you. I'm not. I will love you. I will to the moon and back. But if you're not trying to do the work, baby, I'm not the one. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Okay. So when you're looking for mentorship, couple things to pay attention to. Have they done the thing that you want to do? And is there evidence of that? Because one of the things that I find so really interesting online is like my feed or like my For You page on the other app that rhymes with TikTok is filled with people who are telling me I made $80,000 in a month doing X, Y, and Z. I did $100,000 doing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, you did all of that, but there's no fruit to what you're saying. So I'm supposed to believe it just because you said it? Make it make sense. Show me the fruit. So when I am out and I am trying to pitch for like conferences or I'm trying to speak or I'm trying to teach, I know that what my stuff works. I know that I can say that because I would not have the following that I have. Y'all understand what I mean? So in this social media space, it very much is about like the not only the words that you say, but is there fruit to what you're saying? And you know how I know that there's fruit to what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, based off of my free content, will come back and say comments like, I used what you said about ChatGPT, and now I'm on my final round for interviews. I used the script that you shared on your reel, and now I got to increase my salary by 93 grand. I used what you said on this live, and I was able to speak with the vice president of such and such, and now I have a new opportunity. That is the fruit. Now, if every time you joined one of my lives or every time you saw me online, I was telling you the same thing, but there was no fruit after it, you'd be like, this woman's just blowing a whole lot of hot air. So when you're looking for mentorship, when you're looking for sponsorship, have they done the thing that you want to do? And is there fruit? So yes, the followers are nice, but did people actually get jobs? Did people actually change their life? Is what you saying for real, for real? Those are the things that you want to be paying attention to. This is why I tell some people, I'm probably not the right coach for you because I am going to meet you at a certain level and I'm expecting you to rise to that level as well. So that's why it becomes really important. I'm very, very, I'm very particular about who I invest my time with. I am, because I want to make sure that you win. So there's that. Okay. So the other thing is, okay, resumes. How do I make my resume stand out? Couple things when it comes to the resume situation. So let's get into that. Resumes, y'all, we as hiring managers have a very short attention span when we are combing through resumes. For every requisition right now that we put out, there can be anywhere between 500 to sometimes 1100 resumes that we have to comb through. And yes, the majority of us are combing through those resumes. It takes us about maybe 6 to 12 seconds to comb through a resume to see if this is going to be a good fit. Remember what I shared with you at the beginning of this live? The 3 questions. So we're combing through the resume. Your resume should be skimmable and impact over job function. So if you have taken your job description and you've just copied and pasted that onto your resume, not going to help at all. So we're looking at, okay, this is what I need for this role. Does this person show the impact or the potential that they can do that? So if you're going to make your resume stand out, leverage free tools like ChatGPT to help you to tailor your resume if you can't work with a career coach. Do not copy and paste verbatim what ChatGPT is telling you. Make sure that you are editing that. Make sure that it is the best reflection of who you are and that it is relevant to the role that you are applying to. Okay. And then after we've combed through those resumes, we're trying to identify, do they have contact information? I know that this sounds crazy. I know that it does, but I can't tell you how many resumes I see. They don't have an email for me to connect with them. They don't have a phone number for me to connect with them. They have references upon request. That immediately lets me know your age. And I'm still going to read the resume. And if you fit the criteria, I'm still going to connect with you. But there are certain things on your resume that you should not have because bias is real. Okay. So as I'm combing through those things, I'm trying to see, okay, this is what I need. These are the types of experiences that I'm looking for. Does this person, have they articulated that value on their resume? And so I comb through that. There are 3 types of resumes that you should be paying attention to. The most important resume format is the one that is relevant to the role that you are applying to. So while there are 3 different formats, you need to know which one is the one that is most reflective of who I am. Okay. And so going forward, pay attention to that. Does my resume speak to the impact that I've made at my current employer? And can it give them a glimpse of what I bring to this organization? Okay. So that's what I want you to pay attention to when it comes to your resume. There's a whole lot more that I can break down for you. We simply just don't have the time to do that on a live. So here's what I'm going to do. If you are watching me on Instagram right now, I want you to, if you're watching me on any of my platforms, I want you to pay attention. You want to start writing things down, okay? Because this is the point where I'm going to give you some details that will help you out. The first thing is that on May 8th at 7 p.m., I am going to be hosting a resume writing workshop. Okay? If you are watching me and you need resume support, on May 8th at 7 p.m., I am going to be hosting a resume writing workshop. Okay? During that workshop, I'm going to break down what are the 3 different types of resumes that are available, that are out. What's the formula that I use to be able to write a resume that is going to be powerful? I'm going to review resumes in real time. I did this last month and it was a huge turnout for the folks who were there. So I will review some of y'all's resumes in real time and give you real feedback. Okay. So that is going to happen on May 8th at 7 p.m. And I'm also going to provide you with a resume template. Here's what I don't want you to get crazy about. Resume templates are just that, they're templates. You'll need to add the information. So May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be hosting this workshop. May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be hosting this workshop. So here's what I want you to do. If you're watching me on Instagram, I want you to comment the word resume. and my assistant, Susana the bot, will send you the information and all of the details that are surrounding the resume workshop. Okay. For those of you who are watching me on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, I'm going to put it in the chat for y'all. Okay. I'm going to put it in the chat. So just bear with me for 1 second. Because I want to hook y'all up. And it's not very often that I can afford to do these types of events. So if you comment the word resume on IG, specifically on IG, if you comment the word resume, Susana the bot, my assistant, my automation will send you the details on how you can join us for the resume bootcamp. Okay. During that time, it's going to be about 60 minutes. There will be 30 minutes of me teaching you, going through resume writing, what I look for, what I don't look for, how you can help yourself stand out. And then the next 30 minutes will be me reviewing resumes of people who are in the Zoom for that. Here's another thing that you should know. It is not going to be hosted on any of these platforms. It is going to be a private Zoom where you and I and my team will be there and we'll be able to review resumes and give you pointers from folks who are doing this day in and day out. Okay. So remember what I told you. When it comes to your investment, when it comes to taking ownership of your career, you have to do that because nobody else is going to come and do it for you. We can provide you with the tools. I will teach you how I write resumes, how I think about them, what I look into them. But then you have to run the play. Okay. And so during that session, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you behind the scenes as a hiring manager, what I look for. Where do I see the gaps? And here's the other best part of that is that resume bootcamp will be recorded and you will have access to it even after. So if for some reason you register and you can't join us on that night, I will send you the recording of that. I will send you the recording of the resume bootcamp. Okay. So it's going to happen May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because your girl is in New York and I'm on the East Coast. So 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're going to join me if you need that kind of support with your resume. Okay. So I want to make sure that everyone has gotten the opportunity to do that. All right. So very quickly, let's see. I see that some of y'all have some questions. So yes, May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. All right. So while you do that, I am going to answer this question. So sweetheart, I don't want to butcher your name, but the question is, hi, Susana, I've been working at my job for almost a year. I've been taking on certain responsibilities of someone with a more senior title. How can I ask and request a title change and salary change when I hit my 1-year anniversary? I love this question. So the way that I would encourage you to take care of that, my love, is that I want you to have an evidence list. So you've been taking on certain responsibilities. What are those responsibilities? Who are you working with? What impact have you made as you have taken on these responsibilities? What was the issue prior to you taking on these responsibilities, and how did you make it better? That's the type of data that I would start tracking so that when your 1-year anniversary comes up, you don't walk in there empty-handed. You walk in there with data that supports your request. Okay? Sorry if it gets really loud. My landscaper just got here, so I apologize. So I hope that answered your question. So make sure that you have your evidence list. Make sure you are tracking your tasks. Make sure you're paying attention to who you have been working with, what has been the impact, and what changes have you made. So like that, when you walk into your 1 year anniversary review or your mid-year review, you have data to back up the request. All righty. Okay, so this is another good question. How can you collaborate with recruiters? So if you are going to collaborate with recruiters, the first thing that I want you to do is be kind. I know that that sounds real simple, but please be kind. Don't be nasty to people. I know that you are looking for a new opportunity. I know that you are trying to find a job. I know that many recruiters on the opposite side of that, what used to require 5 or 6 recruiters is now only 1 recruiter. So if you're going to connect with a recruiter, be intentional, be kind, and make it really easy for them to connect with you. So if you're going to connect with a recruiter, find their email, let them know what position you are applying for, and attach your resume to said email. Because I can tell you from experience working with recruiters, sometimes the roles that get tacked onto them, they're not necessarily the best fit for, like they're covering it for somebody, or someone recently left the company, or some person got laid off and they're not even in charge of that rec, but they're now the person who has to recruit for it. Make it very easy for them to be able to connect with you. Share value, use that email as your cover letter. Okay, so share the value that you bring, the gap that you've identified, and how you can add value to the organization. Okay, don't be like some of the people in my DMs who are like, hey Susana, I really like your profile, but you're a problem with this and this. You should hire me to help you. Okay, well, thank you for that information, but you just told me that I'm a problem. Why would I want to work with you? Okay, so that's how I would encourage you to work with recruiters. Next question is, what was that? What do you recommend for when age and education certifications make you overqualified? I want to answer this with grace. If you have certifications um, that you feel are making you overqualified, my suggestion would be, have you identified what is the role above said role that that you are getting told that you're being overqualified for? Okay. So if you are being told, hey, thank you for your application, but you're overqualified for this position, this is what I was talking about before, that a lot of people apply to roles and they're overqualified for them because they're applying for the title instead of the scope of work. So if you're getting that type of feedback, I would start to pay attention to what are the roles that I am like what are the next level above where I am, so like that I could be a good fit for that, and like that my qualifications and my age don't hold me back. Here's another thing. If you are concerned with your age, what I would encourage you to do is pay attention to how you are showing up on your resume, because there are simple things, and I'm going to be going through this at the workshop, at the boot camp. There are simple things that you can remove off of your resume, so like that you can give yourself the best chance if ageism is what you are concerned about. So, quick example. One of the things that I would encourage you to do is, if you have an AOL account, you probably may want to change your email on your resume from AOL to like a Gmail account. Because when was the last time you saw someone using an AOL account? And when you hear me say AOL, what do you think of? Come on. When you hear me say AOL, what do you think of? Some of y'all are like, I don't even know what AOL is. Somebody said dial-up. Somebody said age. Exactly. Older people. Exactly. So if you are concerned with ageism, I can immediately tell what type of candidate I'm going to be working with when I see that their email ends at AOL.com. Update your email. That's simple. And I encourage that for everybody. If you are in the job search, make sure that you have an email account dedicated to the job search, not your personal email. Yeah, look, y'all are saying it in the chat. So if you are saying that, right? If you are saying that in the chat, imagine what the recruiter or the hiring manager is thinking. So that's one simple nugget that you can change today. The same thing I'm going to say for Yahoo. When was the last time you saw somebody using Yahoo? And what did you think? And while it's unfortunate that many people think that way, you right now just confirmed what a whole lot of people are thinking. So if you don't want that to be you, just update your email address. Okay? So that's what I would say for those of you who are like, I'm more seasoned, I have a whole lot of education. Here's another thing that I don't want you to do. Just because you are educated does not mean that you need to dumb down your education. No, ma'am. No, sir. You worked really hard to get those degrees, to get those certifications. So do not dumb down your skill set, your ability, your story. Do not dumb that down just to make somebody else feel comfortable. That's a them problem, not a you problem. And so what you're hearing a lot of is that you're overqualified, chances are that you should update the roles that you are applying for. Okay? All right. And this will be the last question that I answer. Let's see. Whew. All right. So this is another question that I got. My male colleagues make more than me. How do I demand equal pay? I work in IT. Oh man, oh man. So this is there's so many avenues that I like, there's so many things that I want to say surrounding that. So what I would say is I would start to document again, document your process. Document your process so that when you have your one-on-one or your end of year or anything like that, you have data to back up that equal pay situation. Because here's the thing, y'all, it should come normally. Like they should automatically want to pay you the same thing that your male counterparts are making. It should be like a normal thing, but it's not. And until it is, you cannot get tired of being your biggest advocate. So if you know that your male counterparts are making more than you need to be able to start documenting your process and the evidence that you have that you can now command a higher price point. You cannot go into your manager's office and just be like, hey, I know Bill makes more than me and you need to pay me the same thing that Bill makes. Because unless you have a copy of Bill's pay stub, they're not going to listen to you. And what if Bill is just telling you that to mess with you because you're the only girl on the IT team? So make sure that you have your data and then do your research. So not only do I want you to have the data for the work that you are currently doing, do your research for the role that you are in and what is the market value for that role. So like that, you have more data that is solidified by analytics, by strategy, by research, instead of your emotion. Because I get that a lot. So if you want to be able to command a higher price point, you need to equip yourself with the right things. The first thing is to do your research, and the second thing is to have your data. They agree. Okay? Because then, like that, when you go to make a case for yourself, you have all of the things that you need. Okay? Alrighty, my loves. So, again, May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Resume Bootcamp. Please make sure that you register for it. Even if you think you may not be able to attend, you will get the recording of the boot camp. So if you comment on this live right now and you comment the word resume on IG specifically, if you comment resume on this IG live, you will be able to get the link to register and to join us. And for those of you who are watching me on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, I'm going to drop that link for you to join us as well in the chat. Now, y'all, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for rocking with your girl. For those of you who are new, I hope that this was helpful to you. And I hope that you will share this with someone else who needs it and that you would join me again. We go live on Mondays at 12 noon or 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. And this is what I do. I answer your questions and I give you career strategy. Okay. And in June, I'm so excited. In June, we'll be hosting an in-person event, kind of like this, a career strategy resume bootcamp type of situation. And that's coming up June 25th and June 26th. So make sure that you're following along, get on my email list so like that you can get the details on that. And you can join us in June because June is going to be in person and it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about that. It's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for rocking with your girl. Comment the word resume if you're on IG so that you can join us at the bootcamp. But I love y'all. Thank you for rocking with me. If this helped you today, make sure to share it with someone else. That's how we grow and that's how we continue to support and encourage each other. Okay. So enjoy the rest of your day. Have the most amazing week and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody. Bye, y'all.